you guys from the old H picture car that ran so well in the competition. There's the man you saw. Heads up categories for these cars.
Kevin's car's overheating.
With a win, 124.75.
He fucked up on the line. Did you get that off the line? Yeah.
Fan category. Of course, the main concern is just to win the race, but if you can do that and back it up within the allotted percent, Mitch Avison over there in the runway, Mitch and Teresa are newlyweds. Today, they're newlyweds 3 weeks ago. Congratulations. He'd like to celebrate that with a big win. That is a major upset.
Guys, bus just...
Okay, this is the finals in the Quick 8 number 2, and the winner of this Quick 8 number 2 will race the winner of the Quick 8 number 1 to decide the winner who the Quick 8 will be overall, or the Quick 16 if you want to add them up. For the win on the left lane to California in a 69 buggy. So this is the final and Quick 8 number 1. Now he put down over here in the left lane, his best ET was an 1112, and he's dialed in at a 1090. So he can throw that 1112 out the gate. And Max on the left lane, he's been running real strong today. He's down in 1166 to a 1090. Here's the final in Quick 8 number 1. Boy, this is a good race up there. Looks like right hand with an edge, and right lane gets to win a 1088 on a 90. And Ron Loomis Racing, to work for Jack. Apparently, one of the only 2 cars that's going to race.
Rick, no,
And Adam Wickett won the recent event in Denver, Colorado. The Wickett entry sporting a lot of new racing technology ideas. They figured some things out with this car and are looking to make them work well here today. And Jack Kennedy, of course, along with Dean Lowry, one of the only 2 people that has run a 9-second ET in his pro sedan. So the Gene Berg VW Pro Stock category here today is lighting up real well as we get into our 3rd round of qualifying. Currently our number 1 and 2 qualifier, Dean Lowry and Mitch Avison of Martin RC. Strong passes here from the Wickett entry and Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy getting
about a little bit of drag racing coming up next? One of the most exciting parts about any Volkswagen event you go to in California or anywhere else across the country is that of drag racing. Today we were able to catch up with one of the quickest men in the world in drag racing of Volkswagens, Bob Godfrey. Bob Godfrey owns the world's record for not only mile per hour, but ET. Tell us about it, Bob. What's it like?
It's way different from driving an old Carmen Ghia, which I used to drive. I stepped out of a Carmen Ghia and went into a funny car, and it's a whole new ball game.
Now, you set the world's record at Sears Point here recently. We'll go over that, what that whole ride was like, and what it was like to see those numbers come up on the board.
It's really no different from an 8-second run. You really don't know until they come down and tell you that you went that fast. It went at 7:93 up there, though, and that is a record.
Well, here he was with the world's record for an ET. He didn't own the mile per hour record, so he had to go after that. Tell us about that conquest.
3 weeks later, we went after that in Arizona, and it was an all V8 race, and we were #1 qualifier, and we ran a 791 at 169.5.
That's an incredible. That is the world's record, and it's held by Bob Godfrey. Bob, tell us a little bit about the car. It's a beautiful piece of work.
It's an Odyssey fiberglass funny car body that we modified to sort of look like a Scirocco. It'd be kind of hard to make a Scirocco at that point. It's a Brett Goethe AA fuel funny car chassis that he was building, and we bought it and stuffed a Volkswagen motor in it, a 9-inch Ford and a Power Glide, and that's what you see today.
Tell us about the motor now. What size is this thing and all the components that go on it to make it run those kind of numbers?
This is a 2500cc turbocharged, injected on alcohol. It's got performance technology cylinder heads on it. The guy builds them himself. And it's got a bug pack 3-piece case with a scat crank, Carrillo rods. It's got a small, we call it a 98 bore, but it's actually a Chevrolet piston like what would be in a 283.
Well, there it is. That's what it takes to go fast. So if you get a chance next time you're at an event and you want to know about going fast, this is the gentleman to talk to. And believe me, he'll take time out from his schedule to speak to you about his car and what it takes to go fast. Well, it's going to be Bob Godfrey bringing up his awesome Scirocco on just a medium run for him. Keep your eye up here in the right-hand corner. Look at these numbers come up on the wall. Godfrey, 876 at 192 miles per hour. You know, Volkswagen racing has become very, very popular throughout the country. Of course, Sears Point, one of those places that just, you mentioned the word Volkswagen drag race, and they come out of the woodwork. Let's take a look at some of these cars that 40 years ago people laughed at, honked at. Hey, today they're in 3 different classes of racing: Pro Turbo, Pro Stock, and Super Stock. Let's take a look at some of these Pro Turbos as they come to the line right now.
Here's one that certainly catches your eye. Check the car out here in the motorcraft lane. John Baldwin.
Fine example of a Pro Turbo right there as you saw the wheels lift off the ground trying to chase down that Carmen Ghia. Of course, as we mentioned, Pro Turbos are just one of the classes involved in drag racing of Volkswagens. Along with the Pro Turbo, we now have what was known as the Pro Stock. These are the guys that run carburetors on their cars. Of course, they can be altered, as you see the Volkswagen flip-top over here in the right-hand side of your set. And believe me, they are awesome. These little cars turning in the 8, 9, 10, and 11-second brackets. And believe me, you've got to be able to run in those kind of times with those kind of speeds to just stay up with the rest of the field. Here's an example of a Pro Turbo going off against one of the Pro Stocks. Now, you notice the bad Carmen Ghia right there picking the wheels up as he left the line. Of course, we want to say hi to Rich Crafton over there in the corner, taking some shots for VW Trends. Well, what's this? This is an unusual Volkswagen. Look at the size of the tires on the back of this one. Hey, wait a minute. This is the Volkswagen that's got the 350 cubic inch Chevrolet under the hood. Now, what do you want to be? A Chevrolet or a Volkswagen? Well, who knows? But then, who really cares? In Volkswagen racing, just like any other type of racing, some of the cars come with incredible paint jobs on them. And then, of course, there's those that are just undone. All right, in VW Racing here at the Good Guys Summer Nationals, there's like 2 or 3 different classes that run. One being a Pro Turbo, the other one being a Pro Stock, and of course the ET cars. Now, one of the better Pro Stockers that we've found throughout the nation is out here this weekend. His name is Jack Sacchetti. Jack, tell us about your car.
Well, I have a small car specialties Ron Loomis Racing sponsored Pro Stock here, and it's been doing very good for me. I won 7 national events last year, and I've won 1 this year, and it seems to be working out pretty good for me.
Well, I'll tell you what, we saw you up at Sears Point here earlier this year, and you got into the 9s. Have you got back in it yet?
No, I haven't got into it, but we're looking for it today. It's running some good mile an hour. It went almost 132, so it should go a 9 today.
Well, tell me, what size engine is inside the car, Jack?
The motor I got in this is small car specialty build. It's a 2600 cc motor, and we do all the dynoing down there, and it makes some real good horsepower.
Now, when we say 2600 cc's, now this isn't your basic 1600 with big barrels on it, is it?
Oh, no, no. All this is real custom machine part. I have a family that owns a CNC machine shop, and they do a lot of machining for me, and I got a lot of trick things. This ain't your basic motor.
Now, this guy has a real neat philosophy. Hey, check out this Porsche funny body. His idea, we'll make it run, then we'll paint the car. Hey, talking about paint, check out the dragster. This is a turbo-powered dragster. Now, here's that funny car getting ready to make another launch down the drag strip. This car, very unique, very quiet, but very quick. Take a look at the numbers come up there on the screen. 1123 out of a Volkswagen, unheard of. You know, you don't have to have a full-bodied sedan either. Here's the dragster, the turbo dragster, going off against one of the old Manic-style bodies. Quick, you betcha. The Mannix takes the dragster as he runs at 1169. Now, from up in Northern California, there's a company called Donsko. They sponsor a lot of race cars. This is the Donsko house car. I don't know who that is, but that's the Donsko house car. Keep your eye on that Donsko car as he's over there in the left lane. Doing a fine job in this summer heat here at the Summer Nationals. You see a 1274 go up in the right-hand lane. German Auto out of Santa Fe Springs, California. Now, you talk about a hot car from a hot place, Andy Costello. Wheel standing action, you'll see it at any Volkswagen event you go to. But watch Costello. He is on the throttle over there in the right-hand lane. Check out the numbers coming up on the board for Andy. 1160 at 112 miles per hour. Well, it's the Break and Win car. Now, this car has a unique name. It was named after the burritos that they served there at Bakersfield. Just break and win. And he did. At 1166, 114 miles per hour. Carmen Giaz, the Copeland brothers. All the big names showing up here at this Bakersfield event. And I'll tell you what, any event you go to, you just never know who you're going to see show up. Could have been the Copeland brothers, the Pizzio brothers. Of course, Bob Godfrey and his world record Sirocco funny car. Talk about the Pizzio brothers, there they are on the line. Evidently a little problem. Set of dragsters going at it. Right-hand lane, 9 flat. But you know, in the world of Volkswagen racing, just like there is in any other type of racing, let's take NHRA Top Fuel Dragster, there was a legend in his own time. His name was Don Gartlitz. Well, in Volkswagen racing, if you had to find somebody close to a Don Gartlitz, this is the gentleman you'd find. His name is Dean Lowry. He is the man who is really responsible, and yes, you are, for what we see today in Volkswagen racing. Hello, Dean.
Hi, how are you today?
Doing quite well. Tell me, how many years has it been since you first got inside of one of these?
Well, first time we started racing in NHRA was 1965. Ran the inch pincher at that time and been ever since.
For those of you not familiar with the inch pincher, that was a car that has probably been talked about more than any other Volkswagen that was ever built. This car was the first of its kind, the first to let the world know that there was a 4-cylinder from Germany, right?
No, that's like all the rest. I thought when I was messing around before that, I run a Ford Flathead at the drag races. What are you going to race a Volkswagen for?
Really, you know, Dean has really kind of set the standard for everyone. Here is the world record holder in pro stock. Came close not too long ago of losing that, didn't you?
Yes, it did. Too close.
Well, I'll tell you what makes you keep coming out year after year, week after week into this event?
Oh, I keep saying, you know, it's like 20-year charges. You know, you do so much for 20 years and you turn around and do something else for 20 years. Well, I just never got out of that cycle. It's all the same thing.
But Dean, if a guy was ready to get started in pro stock racing, what would you suggest? What's the best way to do it?
First of all, you have to have money, right? A fella's going to find he's going to have $25,000, $30,000 to be competitive. The chassis-wise, you can, depending on how much you want to put into it. But that's about an average figure to be competitive. And as most of the guys are finding out, you need as many cubic inches as you can put in it. And then make everything stay together.
Here's a look at Dean Lowry's world record-setting shot at Sears Point, California. Well, during the days at the racing events, sometimes you just get to go out and play a little bit. Well, this guy needed to play a whole lot, as you saw him miss a shift coming off the line. Nonetheless, pretty good numbers coming up on the line as he still rips off a 12-12. Well, they call it the Top Gun. This is one of the new cars out on the circuit in 1990, George Walker. This car is incredible. Check out the graphics. Better yet, check out the speed on this guy. Let's sit back and watch a little racing action now. Bakersfield Raceway in Bakersfield, California. This track is a legend track. Many, many records have been set over the years, decades of years, if you will, on this particular racetrack. Today, of course, it's the Volkswagen Summer Nationals, sponsored by good guys. Coming up later this year, there'll be another event held here. And I'll tell you what, if you miss it, well, you missed it. Well, we've got a couple of ET cars up on the line right now. You can see the dial-in over there, 1085. Keep your eye on the little Mannix Minx, though, as he makes his way up the 1320 dial at 1085 and runs a 1093. Incredible run. Well, coming up next, over there in the right-hand lane, the Awesome Car Custom Dragster. Now, these dragsters are usually packed with turbochargers. This car over here in the left lane, some fun. You can see the wheels come up as he leaves the line. Earlier in the day, he got about halfway out, spun that car 360 degrees, still held on and drove it through the lights. Good solid run right there. 11:21 for some fun. By the way, the car custom car also ran in the 9-second bracket. These cars coming up right now, this is what is known as the Quick 16. The 16 quickest qualifiers of the day at this particular event going at it. And they go on a heads-up start, unlike the ET cars that race against each other time-wise. These guys come down on the same light. Extremely exciting racing. 13:04 to a 13:10. Left-hand lane takes it. Well, here it is. The one that was named after the burritos, Just Breaking Wind. You can see a lot of smoke roaring out of the back of him. Let's see if he can hold on for the win as they head up through the lights. The lights come up. It's a 1193 at 112. And Just Breaking Wind didn't. A brand new dragster, Penley Research and Development. You see it right there. Mike Salina, no stranger to this sport, has now decided to put a turbocharged Volkswagen together inside of the dragster. And of course, this day he was just kind of working out the bugs. It's his intent to run down in that 7 and 8 second bracket. Today, though, with the heat, he was running in the 10s. Look for this thing to be around quite a while. Look for some incredible speeds to come out of him. The Copen brothers over in the Carnegie are going to be taking on Mike Salina right now. Let's sit back and watch. Salina had it off the line. The Copen brothers have major problems. You can see that gear slow way up. Take a look at Salina. His numbers coming up on the board, 998 at 135 miles per hour.